Patty is coming home for maternity leave, so you, unemployed, need to get out of the house. Big sister, can't you be a bit more decent? You're sloppy. Aren't you embarrassed to be leeching off your parents at your age? I was being criticized by my mother and sister and was about to be kicked out of the house. But this was convenient for me. You want me to leave? Really? Are you sure? Following their wishes, I decided to immediately leave the house. After that, my mother and sister would face unexpected difficulties. I am Candace, 32 years old, and I run a company. Ever since I was young, I loved studying. I was always happy when my father praised me for the results that came with hard work. Thanks to this, I was able to attend a prestigious university and get a job at a top company. For years, I worked diligently, accumulating knowledge and experience. During this time, I also prepared for my dream of starting my own business, alongside my job. About 5 years ago, I successfully established my own company and have been moderately successful. With the help of those around me and my efforts, I was able to start my own company. However, as a child, I never imagined I could chase and realize such a dream. This is because I grew up without much affection from my mother. My mother doted on my younger sister, Patty, who is 2 years younger than me. This was because Patty was recognized by everyone as a beauty. I was not ugly myself, but with my ordinary looks and reserved personality, I didn't stand out. In contrast, my sister, with her charming eyes and well-defined features, was often praised by adults since she was young. The neighborhood ladies always said, "She looks like a doll." So cute, when they saw my sister. My mother seemed very pleased that my sister was adored by the adults around us. By the way, I was also there with them, but nobody ever complimented me. When I was a child, I caught a cold and went to the hospital with my mother. When it was just the two of us, the adults around us didn't say much. My mother seemed bored. Then she said to me, "If Patty were here, everyone would be saying how cute she is. It's completely different when it's just you and me. Even though you're sisters, why is there such a difference?" Saying this, my mother sighed. I was young and felt heartbroken that I had disappointed her. Since that incident, I started believing that no matter what I did, I was a failure. My mother always favored my sister. Whether it was clothes or snacks, she always gave the best things to my sister. As for me, I was always dressed in hand-me-downs from my cousin. And I hardly remember ever getting new clothes. Seeing how I was treated, my sister became increasingly arrogant and started treating me terribly. Not just my mother. "Big sister, move out of the way. I want to watch TV now, so go somewhere else." "But I'm watching this show right now." My sister always made unreasonable demands on me. If I ever resisted even a little, my sister would invariably go to our mother. "Mom, big sister is being mean to me." "Candace, what are you doing to Patty?" "But I was here first." "Patty wants to watch a show, so give it to her. Go back to your room and study or something." My mother would take my sister's side and scold me without listening to my side. And I had no choice but to return to my room. My sister looked at me with a triumphant gaze as she begged our mother for snacks and juice. Smiling, mother handed her the snacks and juice. And they began watching TV together on the sofa, looking very happy. Why do I alone have to endure such hardship? Every day, my heart felt heavy and in pain. Being unable to garner attention from my mother, I often focused on my studies. As a result, my grades were always among the top in school. But when I showed my grades to mother, her reaction was always indifferent with responses like, "Is that so?" or, I thought that no matter how hard I studied, nobody would praise me. However, one day, my father noticed the test results on my study desk and excitedly approached me. Candace. You've been studying so hard. Your grades are good in every subject. Why didn't you show these fantastic results to me before? Because Mom said they were just ordinary. Ordinary. No, this is truly wonderful. Candace, you've been working very hard. You're great. I'm so proud to see you grow up so well. Saying this, my father gently patted my head. Feeling special from being praised by my father for the first time, I became even more dedicated to my studies. Even then, the attitudes of my mother and my sister remained unchanged. In fact, my sister's selfishness and bad attitude towards me escalated. But only father recognized my efforts. I was happy about that and continued to work hard on my studies. When I passed the entrance exam for the top high school in the prefecture, father was really happy. You're going to a high school even better than mine. Candace is amazing. Truly incredible. Relying solely on father's words for emotional support, I continued to achieve top grades in high school. And as a result of my efforts, I passed the National University entrance exam. Father praised me for that, boasting about me to his colleagues, friends, and relatives. I remember feeling shy but extremely happy when I received praise from adults, other than my father during a family gathering on Christmas. However, even then, mother steadfastly refused to praise me, continuing to dote only on my sister. Even if you're good at studying, that alone means nothing. Ultimately, the happiest life for a woman is to marry a man with a high income and become a housewife. Mother always insisted on this. She had relied solely on father's income since their marriage, never having worked a day in her life. Father, being an executive at a well-known large corporation, certainly had enough income to support our family of 4. So perhaps there was no need for mother to work. From this experience, mother firmly believed that attractive women like my sister could easily marry a wealthy man and lead a happy life. Maybe she was also resentful that I was being praised more than my sister, whom she doted on. When I decided to live alone in Boston for university, my mother and my sister opposed it, calling it a waste of money. It was unrealistic to commute to the university from home, as it took 4 hours one way. Yet, my mother and my sister were vehemently against me living alone. However, my father supported my decision and even worried about my safety, arranging an apartment with an auto-lock system for me. It seems father had a big argument with mother and my sister about this, but it was resolved by promising my sister a brand name bag and a trip abroad as a high school graduation gift. Amidst all this, I dedicated myself even more to my studies at university. While studying, I also focused on business-related studies, aiming to be successful in my career like my father. The room he prepared for me was ideal for concentrating on my studies. Especially, the quiet environment without mother and my sister was truly appreciated. They were always watching soap opera at high volume and discussing loudly afterward, making it impossible for me to concentrate on my studies. Therefore, my life living alone was incomparably more comfortable and fulfilling than before. Time passed, and I managed to secure a job at a company in New York, leading an independent life. Meanwhile, my sister graduated from a beauty school and started working part-time as a cosmetics salesperson in New York. She even lived in a rather luxurious apartment, with the rent, of course, being paid by our father. Although I've been paying my rent since I started working, my sister, in collaboration with mother, managed to convince father to pay for her extravagant apartment. But I never aspired for a life where everything was handed to me like my sisters. I believed such a lifestyle would ultimately be my downfall. Youth doesn't last forever, and without personal effort, failure is inevitable. With that thought, I continued to aim for self-sufficiency, determined not to become like my sister. Working at a large corporation, I earned a decent salary. But my goal wasn't just to earn a high income. I aimed to achieve real results in my job. Consequently, I climbed the corporate ladder and built a wide network. Eventually, I became independent, starting my own business and becoming an entrepreneur. Although the initial phase was challenging and profit was hard to come by, my persistence paid off. And I now enjoy a reasonably successful business with an income higher than most of my peers. Many events led to where I am now. One of them was my sister getting married to a man who owned his business. However, I wasn't even invited to meet him, let alone to the wedding. Not only that, my sister referred to me as an embarrassment. While I didn't care much about her wedding, being unrecognized as part of the family did hurt. Naturally, I wasn't included in her wedding ceremony. And I know little about her married life. One day, our father fell ill and needed care. Mother contacted me about it. "Candace, you take care of your father." Ignoring my opinions, she repeatedly insisted that I care for him. I returned home and started taking care of father. Worried about him, I arranged to work from home. "Candace, I'm sorry. Are you busy with work?" "I don't want to be a burden." "What are you saying?" "It's okay, Dad. I'm here because of you." Taking care of father wasn't hard. The problem was mother. She never listened to me and had no understanding of my work. "Candace, why are you lazing around in your room all day?" Mom. "I'm in a meeting." Mother often barged into my room during online meetings, causing disruptions. This was genuinely bothersome. Since she wouldn't listen, I eventually had to lock my door, which only led to her constant grumbling. "You're only taking care of your father and not doing any housework. You're not just playing in your room, are you? Coming back home, not working, and not helping with the housework. If you're not working, at least help with the chores." She kept pushing housework onto me while doing nothing herself. I had to juggle work, household chores, and caregiving all alone. Those days were genuinely challenging. During this time, Mother wanted to move to a new house, citing the old one's age. "We should move to a barrier-free house for your father's wheelchair." She kept bringing up moving, and realizing it would indeed be better for father. We decided to sell the house and relocate. The new place had a rent of $2,000, offering excellent conditions. It had ample space for my work and a large room to install a bed for father's care. The environment was perfect for our lifestyle. Mother was pleased with the new place, and father and I found it more comfortable than before. Mother continued her lazy days, but I got used to it and managed to balance housework, caregiving, and work efficiently. With the room now more spacious and barrier-free, father seemed to be able to do more things by himself. This slightly reduced my burden. Time passed, and before I knew it, more than a year had gone by. But during that time, father's health deteriorated, and he eventually needed to be hospitalized. I was confused by this sudden turn of events. However, father seemed to understand that his health was worsening. "I hate that I had to be hospitalized, but I'm glad it lessens your burden, Candace." "Dad. You don't need to worry about that." I visited him in the hospital every day. In his room, I could talk quietly with him without worrying about Mother's presence. However, about 2 months later, father's condition rapidly declined, and he passed away. I was engulfed in sorrow. The reality of my always supportive father no longer being there left me unable to recover for a while. After father's passing, I continued living with mother. She, too, seemed to mourn the loss of father. Amidst this, my sister suddenly decided to return home temporarily. One day, she just appeared at our house without warning. While she had informed mother of her return, I was completely taken aback as I had not been informed. Then, my sister dropped a bombshell. "Actually, I'm pregnant." So, I'm planning to stay here for a while. Really? I'm so happy. That's wonderful. Mother was overjoyed at my sister's news of her pregnancy and her return home. I, too, was genuinely happy about her pregnancy. Having a child is truly a joyous occasion. However, my sister, with a scornful laugh, looked down on me and said, "The difference between you and me is just too big now." Me, married to a company owner and pregnant. And you, unemployed, leeching off our parents at home, we're incomparable. It's annoying that you're here when I come back home. I understood immediately what my sister wanted. She wanted me to leave the house. Sensing this, Mother took my sister's side and said to me, "That's right. Patty is coming back to give birth. We can't have an unemployed person like you around. Really, you're so irresponsible, big sister. Living at home like a parasite at your age, what are you thinking?" Mother and my sister were trying to drive me out of the house. They didn't seem to understand that I had been the one supporting this house. Well, for me, this was a good opportunity. "You want me to leave?" As I asked this, thinking I was just bluffing, Mother and my sister scoffed at me. "Of course. Can you leave quickly? You won't be missed." I decided to leave the house immediately, following their wishes. It was clear to me that they would struggle without me. I quickly packed my belongings and left home. I stayed in a business hotel for a few days before moving to an apartment near my company in New York. Working from home has often caused inconveniences for my company. But now, being able to support my employees directly, the situation was much better for both me and the company. I immersed myself in work again, and the company continued to expand its business. Then, out of the blue, I received a call from Mother. "Hello, what's up?" "I'm quite busy right now." "What do you mean, what's up?" "A bill for $2,000 in rent just arrived." "What are you talking about?" "Of course, it's obvious. You didn't think we were living in that house without paying rent, did you?" Didn't Dad buy the apartment outright?" "Dad had a lot of expenses for medical bills and caregiving supplies, you know? There's no way he could afford that luxury." In reality, Father had considered buying the apartment. But I persuaded him to rent instead, not wanting him to spend his money on that. I wanted him to use his money for himself. I always thought it was our own house. What should we do about the rent payment?" "Don't worry. That's already been taken care of." Hearing my words, Mother let out a sigh of relief. "Oh, so you'll be paying the rent from now on. You should have told me sooner. But how can you, being unemployed, afford to pay $2,000 every month? Did you, perhaps, inherit a lot of money from Dad?" "What are you talking about? That's impossible." Despite my father's high income, there wasn't much left for inheritance due to my mother's and my sister's spending habits. "Then how are you going to pay the rent?" "That's because I've been working from home, which you never believed." "Well, that's good, but anyway, please pay the rent quickly." Why?" "When I said you don't have to worry, I didn't mean I would pay the rent. I meant that I'm going to cancel the apartment lease." Wait. Patty is back for her childbirth. If you cancel this house, what will we do? I don't care. You should work hard for your beloved Patty, shouldn't you? Then the voice on the phone changed, and it was my sister speaking. Wait, Candace. How can you be so cruel? Don't you feel sorry for your poor little sister? Of course not. After all, you don't care about me, right? I'm just an embarrassment to you. I don't care about you either. I have nothing to do for you or Mother. Wait, Candace. this means there's no point in me coming back for childbirth. I don't care. It's none of my business. I have work, so I'm hanging up now. Candace, wait, just a minute. I hung up the phone unilaterally and blocked calls from my sister and mother. I then proceeded with the process of canceling the apartment lease. Later, mother moved to a cheaper apartment that she could afford without a job. Despite receiving emails asking for help, I continued to ignore them. My sister canceled her plan to give birth back home and return to her own house. However, I heard that she caught her husband cheating at that time. As a result, her husband chose his mistress, and my sister was abandoned. Having nowhere else to go, she returned to the dilapidated apartment where mother lived. Currently, my sister, who is expecting a baby, cannot work, so mother is working part-time. Their lifestyle, accustomed to living off father's money, has led them into quite a difficult situation. But it's their own doing, and I have no sympathy for them. Meanwhile, I'm focused on my work, growing the company day by day. I intend to keep working hard, so that when I meet Father in heaven, I can be praised by him again, just like before.